And joining us on the UMA guest line, a man who was at that practice and is at every practice, is Cam Inman, who's been covering the 49ers for a number of years, and that's why you guys all should go out and buy his book, The Franchise, San Francisco 49ers, A Curated History of the Faithful, by Cam, with forewords by Frank Gore and George Kittle. And Cam is with us on the UMA guest line to talk about the book and the Niners. What's up, Cam? How are you, man?
Good evening, Larry Krueger. How are you?
Doing good.
Yeah.
So Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are doing great, but they haven't won that 6th Lombardi. How long does Jed give them? How long does Dr. John and Denise give them? How long do they have without winning that 6th Lombardi before they're going to be called on the carpet and made to answer and been like, hey, you know what? It's been too long and now we're mad. How long do they have?
I think you have to look at what the health of the franchise is. It's like, do they bankrupt the franchise by overpaying a lot of guys? Not necessarily, because of the salary cap keeps going up. Is the morale still good? Yeah. Have they integrated youth with draft picks? Especially this year, they have. So there's a lot of positive, but you're right. Like, at what point, like, are they just snake bit? Are they never going to be able to pull off a Super Bowl? Then you're not there yet. Not for a couple of years now. John Madden made it to so many conference championship games, and he did not win a Super Bowl until his 8th season. And Al Davis stuck with him. And talking to the York family over the years, I think they know that they have a great coach in Kyle Shanahan. I think they also know that they need to win a Super Bowl and have all this money pay off. And you don't want to upend it unless you have a great coach in the waiting. And I don't know if there's one out there that's going to be better than Kyle Shanahan and what they can do. So any talk about him being on the hot seat, I mean, I think you can delay that another couple of years. But it is going to be fascinating to see the coaching job he does in the final half of this season, because if he gets McCaffrey back.
Oh, do we lose Cam? Well, I think we lost Cam. He said if we get McCaffrey back, and then like that, he was gone. It is interesting. He said a couple more years. But I don't know. I mean, a couple more years is all he's got. They've been to the NFC title game like 4 times. They've been to 2 Super Bowls. Their previous coach was Chip Kelly. Their coach before that was Jim Tom Sula. And Kyle only has a couple more years. Cam, I was just filibustering there on your couple more years. I'm hoping.
Who are you getting to replace him if you're firing him after this year?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I would think he would. The guy I always think of is Andy Reid. To me, isn't he Andy Reid in Philly?
Andy Reid's not. Oh, you mean in terms of just like sticking with them and winning?
Well, I mean, yeah, he got 13 years. He got 13 years to make it happen there, and it didn't happen. Yeah. And then after 13 years, they yanked him.
Yeah.
Do you think Kyle gets 13 years, or what? He said, well, this is year 8.
Does Brock Purdy become Patrick Mahomes? I mean, he certainly could be. I mean, Brock's a very special, talented quarterback. I don't know. I think there's so many other issues with this team than freaking out over the coach.
Sure.
Tell me who the next left tackle is going to be. I mean, that's a big part of the franchise. Is Trent Williams gonna stay another 2 years because he just redid his contract? So that's great. Has McCaffrey got another 2 years left on those Achilles? I don't know. Is Bosa going to produce at the level as the NFL's highest paid defender the way T.J. Watt's producing? Is George Kittle going to be able to eke out more out of that body? And he's in year 8, and it's like, I don't know how many more years he can go. Kelsey's performing at age 35 like amazing. Can George last that long? I don't know. So there's way other issues to this team than worrying about the head coach.
No doubt. What's the key to the second half?
Well, I think they've this next 4-game block is that's going to be rough, and I want to see how, because they should beat Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's lacking a lot of personnel. They're going to be exhausted. The defense played 85 snaps Monday against Kansas City. So keep the ball and exhaust them even more. So they can win Tampa. You can beat Seattle at home. You need to beat Seattle at home. I mean, the key is to win those division games, obviously, so that you win the NFC West. And then not get destroyed in Green Bay and Buffalo, so that you don't like have a demoralizing effect going into those clutch games against the Rams, the Cardinals, the Lions. So you can get that momentum like you have the last few years to get in the playoffs and just find out if that's the magic way to go. You never know. They're not going to have the number one seed, but they need to get that NFC West championship so they can get into the tournament.
How is the run defense the big issue in your mind? And does Khalil Davis and maybe the possibility of Greenlaw returning, is that going to solve that?
I'm not positive about that because I think there's other issues, like who's covering the running back out of the backfield, because Devondre Campbell's getting exploited way too often. Is Tashawn Gibson going to be playing in place of one of these safeties because there's been too many communication breakdowns? As great as these guys can make plays, there's also some plays that they've missed. I'm curious to know if they're going to get. I mean, it's a yearly dilemma of who is going to rush the quarterback opposite Nick Bosa. And I don't think Leonard Floyd's having a terrible year. He's just not producing, and neither is Nick. I mean, Nick's getting so many pressures, and he's got, 4.5 sacks? And last year at this time he only had 3 sacks, right? But he still finished really strong. So I think he and Leonard Floyd need to turn it on, get after Baker Mayfield, get after Geno Smith, get after Jordan Love, get after Josh Allen, and get that momentum going, because that's what I need to see out of that team.
Couple last ones before we let you go. Can Cowing and Pearsall step up and replace Ayuk in the second half?
McCaffrey can.
Okay, they can't, but he can.
I mean, McCaffrey's a great receiver. I think there's obviously they've been able to run the ball well, but his overall presence on offense is so dearly missed, and just that creates the mismatches on defense. That opens things up for Purdy to see. You need him on the field, and I do want to see more of Pearsall because I think he's going to have a really good career. Cowing is just an afterthought, and it's almost like they haven't given him a carry. He has not had many carries either in college also. So it's not like there is a secret weapon that's waiting on all these jet sweeps. But I would like to see them use his speed more. And, Debo's like just battling a lot of injuries this year. Obviously he got over pneumonia, but now he's got an oblique and ribs. And Kittle's got to work through his issues. And Juwan Jennings now has got to play through a hip muscle injury. So they're not great, but Ayuk wasn't doing great the first few games, and I think everybody kind of expected that since he was out of camp. But, boy, he made some really clutch plays as the seasons went on, each of the last 2 years to get over 1,000 yards. So he's going to be missed no matter what.
Two quick ones on the way out the door. How much will and how much should Kyle use CMC if he's fully healthy on Sunday?
That's the big question, isn't it? And yeah. I know Christian is the type of guy that wants to play all the time, right? And a lot of these running backs want to get in the rhythm and stay on the field. Even today, just watching them warm up, like he was kind of, he was kind of waiting out on the rotation a little bit, so he wasn't taking everyone. I think they're going to be guarded with him. I think they got to make sure that, yes, he's going to be fully cleared to play, right? And then if that's the case, you can play as much as you want. That's how it works in the NFL. I just think we have such incredible expectations for this guy because when he steps into the starting lineup 2 years ago, what does he do? He runs for a touchdown, throws for a touchdown, and catches a touchdown in L.A. And everybody's like, oh, okay, bring this on. I'm not expecting that in Tampa. And I don't think they should get rid of Jordan Mason. I mean, he's running the ball really hard. So is it a two-headed monster? I don't know if that would be the case, but personally, to me, I think he should. If he's healthy, Larry, I'd want to see him get 3/4 of the carries.
I'd be fine with that. That to me sounds about right. Last one, chapter 15 of the book, page 84. You have a short chapter about Eddie D. I asked the question before, is Eddie D the greatest owner in Bay Area sports history over Joe Lacob? I would give it to him over Lacob because Lacob bought the Warriors. They already had Steph Curry on the roster. So I think that he's fortunate more than he bought a team at the right time, but I'll give it to DeBartolo. What did you write in your book about Eddie, and what do you think, Eddie or Joe? Who's the greatest owner in Bay Area sports history?
I would say Eddie, but I mean, I like the fact that Joe spends so much money, right, with and they institute the luxury cap, and he just kept blowing through it. And that's what Eddie did. I mean, Eddie rewarded all these players and treated them like family and first class, and the league had to put in a salary cap. Eddie revolutionized that way of doing business, but he was so passionate and adored his players, and they adored him so much. I mean, the quest to get Eddie into the Hall of Fame, what was that, 5 years ago? And it spoke to the love and the appreciation that the players had, not just the fan base, but really resonated with a guy that, was run out of ownership. But people still adored him because of what he did and established the foundation. And he had Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, and it takes a great coach and quarterback. So right now, Jed York hopes he has the right coach and the right quarterback to do the same. Eddie's he has a home in Tampa, so maybe Eddie can have us over this weekend while we're in town.
Exactly. Cam, good luck with the book. People all need to go buy it. It's called The Franchise, San Francisco 49ers curated history of the faithful by Cam, and the foreword by Frank Gore and by George Kittle. It's a cool read. I love it. My kid loves it. We're big fans, so keep it rolling, man. You do a great job covering the team, and that's the last positive thing I'm going to say about you for weeks.
No, thank you. And the book is available on Amazon, but you can get on my website, caminman.com. It'll link you to something, and then if you want a personalized copy, just DM me on Instagram at 49ers.cam, and I'll try to mail one out because I've been doing that with, I don't know, about 100 people in the last couple of weeks. So anyhow, appreciate it, and Let's get this 49er ship rolling again. I want to see some good football the last half of the season.
Agreed. You're the best, Cam. Have a great night, man. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Thank you, Larry. Take care.
Yep. Cam Inman, San Jose Mercury News. It's a great book. Read it. I mean, go buy it. The Franchise, curated history of the faithful by Cam Inman. Gore and Kittle contributed with the forewords. Very, very cool book.